Nice. I went out and I bought some of the LavAzza. LavAzza. I guess it's in the name because the A is huge. LavAzza. This is what I was talking about. I'd forgotten the name of it. It is the Intenso Dark Roast. Let me show you something funny. I know that I harp on freshness dates and whatnot, and generally, fresh coffee is better coffee. I feel. In this case, these dates are very interesting to me. So it was manufactured. Doesn't mean it was roasted. It means it was ground up on February the 4th of this year. Not bad. Best before March of 2027. Now, it says there's only coffee in this, suitable for French press, cold brew, and pour over, which, you know, ideal for drip coffee brewers. I don't know if this is going to be ideal for the Moka pot, but that's whatever. I mean, it's supposed to be just coffee, right? It's not, there's no preservatives in it. It's just I guess technically the more roasted something is, because this is an Intenso Dark Roast. And I intentionally picked the dark roast, even though it's not the darkest roast, because as you can see, there's 4 oranges, not 5. Whatever that means. They could put 10 oranges and an 11th one gray, and it would mean the exact same thing. I guess if it's ground or it's roasted darker, there's less moisture in it, so maybe it'll last a little bit longer and it's more intense and all that stuff. I don't know. I do know that this doesn't. Ooh. Give it a second to air out a little bit, because I'm like, that doesn't smell. Oh, it had a back end of fish. Just putting it out there. That's gone now. I mean, it just smells like coffee that's been pre-ground. Oh shit! Yeah, this is going to be a problem. All right, let's. Bag's not going to cooperate, so we're going to try to make it cooperate. Yeah, like it says on the side here, it is ground for French press, cold brew, and pour over. So but it seems fairly well ground. It's very uniform, pretty small, not quite sand in consistency, but still, you know, still ground very well, very consistent, very uniform, which, you know, who could ask for anything more? I'm gonna dump the coffee off of this and on into the sink. Well, I guess it's dry. We'll just drop it into the, I'm sure there's more to be done cleaning that up. We'll do it later. Brew chamber, coffee pot. I'm gonna put my milk in there. Because I'm actually using milk. We're gonna have to get more milk here pretty soon, actually. Generally, I don't use this much milk. He uses it for his protein shakes. I have protein powder that I can use water with, and it tastes fine. He has a protein powder that he uses milk with because it doesn't taste good with water. All right, that's going. Cool. Yeah, so I did go out. I did grab some of the coffee I was kind of talking about. I'm not exactly sure if this is considered French roast. I know, or even Italian roast. I'm pretty sure this is an Italian brand, I think, right? I mean, it's La Dolce Vita, so the Dolce Vita in every cup. Yeah, it's artistry, Italian. So it is by the Italian way of life, or La Dolce Vita. Each cup is a sip of, each coffee sip, well, that's weird. Each coffee sip is a portal to La Dolce Vita, a blend of joy, style, and the simple pleasure of relishing moments. I mean, sure, why not? I mean, I'm not going to say they're wrong. I'm not going to say it's entirely accurate, but I'm not going to say they're wrong. That's cold. That's very cold. The nice thing about aluminum is it absorbs whatever you put in it, heat and cold wise, and that has gotten the cold temperature of milk, which is really kind of cool. This thing is just a wealth of science experiments. It just is, like I talked about yesterday. Add another one to it. Look at this absorption. Aluminum absorbs the temperature of whatever you stick in it fairly quickly. So, anywho, let's see, how much to really talk about today. I mean, I'm sorry I'm not using the grinder, but they really didn't have this in beans. And to be honest with you, it's probably better for them long-term, longevity-wise, if they do grind it up. And they roast it dark and then grind it up and then sell it that way. I mean, the shelf life apparently is 2 years for this, a little over 2 years, which is a lot. Oh, we were at the Latino market the other day and found this. Now these are basically Rice Krispie, chocolate Rice Krispies, Cocoa Rice Krispies. But this is what they sell in South American countries, probably Mexico, around Central America, Central American countries. Instead of the elves, they have an elephant. They do Tony the Tiger, but they call it Zucaritas instead of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. It's funny because they have translations for everything except for Zucaritas, because sugar is sugar, basically. And then I don't know what itas means, to be honest with you. But they do an English translation for everything here. Yeah, so Tony the Tiger. And it doesn't even say it says let your grate out, but here it's like demase of corn instead of saying it's grate on the box. Even though it is kind of represented here, you can't really get the grate out of that. So it's just funny, and the box is so wide. This is a pound of cereal. But it was just really interesting because the boxes are just wide. They're as thin as the normal boxes, the ones that don't say family size or big size or large size or, whatever. Usually they're thicker, but this is thin and wide. And there's nothing on here that says, hey, this is the family size. This is just what it is. And they had these Frosted Flakes right beside it. And it was, it was the same size box. And then when you went down the cereal aisle, they had everything in normal boxes. I don't know if they were in Spanish. I really didn't look that close. I just noted the size of the boxes. I was like, wow, that's weird. So I just thought that was very interesting. And they're pretty good. I mean, they're Cocoa Krispies, really. So, but they taste nice. All right, we're gonna fill it all the way up, but I'll fill it up a little more than halfway, and then we're gonna put it on that back burner. You go in here, boom. You get the towel, and then sit you on here and spin you around. This has been such a fun series of experiments. I was very surprised, happily surprised, at how great it went with the mustachio yesterday. It was really fun how it went with Coffee Family's coffee. Much newer than this coffee, pretty sure. So that was generally and genuinely interesting. So let's get this started back here. There you go. Get that here on open. I realize now I didn't wash my cup out, but that'll be okay. We can just watch it go again. It's just so much fun. I especially love how it separates out of the two sides of the chimney. Piece right there, you can kind of see it goes on both sides. I like how it goes out both sides of the chimney and then just kind of flares out. And like I said, it really does kind of look like brains when it starts, and then of course it fills up with coffee. I love how dark these dark roasts get in this Moka pot. I think it's absolutely fantastic. We'll try to put it through the rock on Tuesday. Like I said, it's made for pour overs and cold brew. It may not be powdery enough to get put through an espresso machine properly, but we can also give that a try. And then we'll just do a pour over, see how intense it is. I'm sure it's pretty intense in flavor, so that'll be fun. I mean, we've got it, we might as well use it. I did grab some sugar-free Monster yesterday also. Discovered that the green sugar-free one is not as good as the white can sugar-free ultra one. I looked at the back. I didn't spot any difference. See how dark that is? Look how dark and rich that looks coming out. I'm going to back it off just a little bit. We really don't want to foam. We just want the coffee to just lava out like it's doing right now. So I think backing down the heat is our best bet to continue. And there are people that set it and forget it and then just come back to a full pot of coffee and it's like everything's fine and they're great with that. But playing with this thing and modulating it, getting the best out of it that you can, seems also very fun. See what that does. Yeah. Okay, there it goes. We're going to turn it off now because we have reached the spout, the bottom of the spout. So we're just going to let that. And I don't want it to go back down the chimney. I don't think there's a particular reason. I just would prefer that it didn't. And I'm going to pull it off here because that grate is still hot. So it's still producing heat. But there you go. Give it a mix. I found my first Moka pot in Target. That was a long time ago. I've not been back to Target for a while. But I found my first one. I believe that Meijer also has them, but I don't think I've been back to Meijer for a minute either. I know that Amazon, I'm going down the list of shit places to buy stuff, but Amazon also carries them. I believe that the website for Bialetti sells them. There's also specialty shops that don't necessarily do coffee, but they do coffee pots. It has a very strong smell to it. A very strong coffee smell to it. I put as much milk in there, I feel, and it is much darker than the other ones we had. It is a dark roast, which makes sense, but at the same time, that is a pretty intense chocolate milk looking coffee that smells very coffee. And holds on to the intensity of the dark roast, even though it's basically a little less than half milk. So, you know, if you want to, if you like dark coffee, but sometimes it can get a little bitter, it seems like this is a great alternative with your Moka pot. Yeah, it's still very intense. Still a little bit of bitterness, but the sweetness of the milk evens it out enough to where you're not just, oh, I need to add water. So that's really cool. I'm glad I was able to find that and do this. It's just funny. It just looks like chocolate milk, doesn't it? It looks like hot chocolate milk, but it is very coffee forward. Much more coffee forward than all the other two that we did over the past 2 days. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching this week. Next week, maybe we'll do the LavAzza in the OXO Rapid Brewer. See how that goes. I'm sure that'll be pretty intense. We'll definitely have to dumb that down a little bit with some water. Maybe more than normal. But we'll see. We'll play with this next week with various devices that I have lying around. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.